Welcome to PLUSone, the series where each month none of you pay attention to the first 10 seconds of this video and I tell you if they're worth the download. After all, the games may be free, but your time is valuable. Today we're finishing off with the last two of October's free games. 2064 Read-Only Memories and The Bridge. Both of these games have a more somber aesthetic than is common for PS Plus games, but they couldn't be any different from one another in tone. Are either of these games right for you? Let's find out, starting with 2064. Read-Only Memories is a 2017 point-and-click adventure game set in a futuristic cyberpunk world. More specifically, you're thrown into the city of Neo San Francisco, playing as a writer who's struggling to make ends meet. On one fateful night in December, your house is broken into by a little robot named Turing, who tells you that your friend Hayden has been kidnapped. Turing reveals that it's the world's first true AI, created by Hayden while the rest of the world was focused on creating helpful subservient machines known as ROMs, or Relationship and Operations Managers. From here, the player teams up with Turing to find out what happened to Hayden, and the story quickly splits down several different paths depending on the dialogue choices you make. And for the record, I don't mean that it quote-unquote splits like a Telltale game, rip. These are actually totally different forks, which add a ton of potential replayability to the game. I found myself quickly hooked in by the characters and the setting, especially Turing. The voice work, while not perfect, is something I didn't expect knowing how inspired 2064 is by the classic adventure games of old. For the most part, the lines are delivered well though, and the writing is just plain funny at points. All of this, sadly, is betrayed by the visuals. Don't get me wrong, the game looks beautiful. However, 2064 is a point-and-click game, and one of the biggest sins of this genre is when it's hard to tell what you can point at and click on. Obviously, I don't want every item to be clearly highlighted, but there were a few points early on where I missed a key item because I simply couldn't see it, and because moving between items on the D-pad also missed that item. This is clearly a PC game first and foremost, and as such I can only recommend you play 2064 if you use the DualShock 4's touchpad as a virtual mouse to scour over the different rooms for every possible item. Even when you find the items though, you may not know what to do with them. Again, this is a very retro-inspired game, so you can look at, talk to, or interact with pretty much any item in the game. That includes talking to your household plant, and all of these options usually lead to funny results. There are at least very few times where the game's logic doesn't quite make sense, at least from what I played, so it's spared of that usual adventure game pitfall. With all of that said, it's sadly a very tough game to recommend to most people. There's not any real action in this game. It's all based around a slow burn story that takes around 8 hours. All you'll be doing, again, is pointing and clicking and talking. If that sounds like something you would like, I definitely think you should +1 it to your collection, as it's one of the more immediately interesting adventure games that I've played in a long time. If it hooks you in like it's hooked me in so far, you may even be compelled to go for the Platinum Trophy, which is entirely based on seeing each of the different story branches. Either way, if you like these story-driven adventure games where there's not much by way of game, I would say it's worth your time. And the final game for October's PS Plus lineup is The Bridge, a 2013 indie puzzle game made by sole developer Ty Taylor. You take control of a character that's essentially MC Escher, traveling through different rooms of his house, which are naturally very Escher-esque in design. Using either the DualShock's gyro controls or the L or R buttons, you'll manipulate the orientation of the level around you. In each level, there will be different obstacles, such as keys to unlock the exit door, these evil balls that will instantly kill you, or these gravity wells that will suck you in. If you die, miss a jump, or otherwise make a mistake, you can rewind the game spot for spot, allowing you to retry that missed jump, or just start the entire level over. This mechanic in particular obviously harkens back to Braid, but unlike Braid, it's just a rewind. There's never a particular need for the mechanic unless you mess up. On a different note, also unlike Braid, the puzzles leave a lot to be desired. Don't get me wrong, they're fun, and some of them certainly get you as the game toys with the perspective just as an Escher work would. However, the game's just incredibly slow, incredibly short, and it takes a good amount of time for each new mechanic to be introduced. The result is that of the game's couple dozen levels, most of them are relatively easy, with 1 or 2 sprinkled in that are deceptively puzzling. Plus, once you're done with the game, in order to pad out the experience, you then play the same game again, but with the levels mirrored. Kudos to the developer for making worlds that work both forwards and backwards. It's impressive technically speaking, but it doesn't make for a particularly engaging game after a while. After all, within 40 minutes I'd beaten almost every level in the game. It still looks great though. Each level looking and feeling like an Escher painting means that each level itself is art. And if you're looking for a quick puzzle game, this one is fun enough, but it's not going to keep your time for all that long. So there you have it, October's games are all wrapped up. Before I go though, just to make sure you have everything you need to know about these games, 2064 will take up about 2 gigs on your hard drive, and the bridge will take up only 350 megabytes. So neither is going to hog up that much space. If you're watching this after October and the games are no longer free, 2064 is $20 regular price, and the bridge is $10. I think that 2064 is worth that price only to the die-hard point-and-click fans. If you're only curious about it, wait for it to drop to about half price, and you won't be disappointed. The bridge is a bit too short for me to recommend it at $10, but again, half price would be a much easier pill to swallow. With all of these games out of the way, which of October's PS Plus lineup was your favorite game? Let me know down in the comments below, and while you're down there, make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and share it around to help the channel grow. For you PS Plus only viewers, I'll see you guys next month for, apparently, Yakuza Kiwami and Bulletstorm, and for the super awesome viewers that watch everything I put out, I'll see you guys in a few days for the next video.